So we
want to talk about my parrot.
The February 16th, 2018 Small Business Accounting Advisors. Hello, everyone.
Hello.
Hello. Welcome.
Nice to see Melissa again, taking a little break.
Yes.
We're heavy into tax season now.
Oh man.
She came here for a break and you're reminding her.
You know what's funny is that I honestly, as much as it is like in tax season, I feel like I'm doing less tax returns right now and just still cleanup work in everybody's QBO and like, you know, doing rebuilds, all their annual stuff. And so those are the people that are driving me nuts, are the ones who are going, well, why haven't you created 12 months of QuickBooks in the last 3 days? I'm like,
You done?
You don't have any other clients to work on, just that.
like, I need to sleep, I need to eat, I need to see my family sometimes.
Well, it's good to have you here.
I had a client, one of my China client actually called me out of the blue. He was actually here in the area, so I saw him for the first time about 4 years. This my client who lives in Shanghai, China.
Oh, nice.
Cool.
He comes to visit his kids like once a year. He stays in the country less than 30 days, so he can qualify for that exclusion.
Yeah.
Oh, the visa.
And so he told me he had not mailed his 2015 return yet that I did for him. He's kind of he lets things kind of accumulate.
Well, you know, I guess if you're living in China, you're not going to worry about them coming to get you.
Probably not. Although one time,
Well, they'll take your visa.
one time the IRS didn't know where he was, and so he had like 4 years of taxes due, and they were sending him nasty notices that he wasn't getting. He didn't have his. He didn't know he was in China. So.
Well, today we're going to start out with Linda. Linda, you're going to tell us about your new client?
Right. I actually have 2 new clients. I got one last week and one this week. And the one last week is someone who has been an accountant bookkeeper but not used QuickBooks before. And she's just got a job now doing the QuickBooks. The QuickBooks has been done well by previous bookkeepers that have retired. And this woman is not sure how to, when she put something in wrong because she didn't realize it, how to fix it. So she's got her new employer paying for 1 hour of my services at a time, and then they just they like debit off of the 60 minutes how many minutes they use.
So she's prepaying you and then just using the time as she goes.
Right.
That's
and it works out great. And I was able to, what happened is she received, people are careless when they speak to each other. You probably noticed this. And so the owner says, oh, here's a check from Cal Baptist, and it needs to be applied to that last job we started for them. Well, it turns out the owner was not reading properly. It wasn't a check from Cal Baptist. It was a check from another client. And so she went in and she applied. The way they do it, too, is they only apply half of every single invoice up front for materials and that. So she receives a payment of half of everything, which makes it a little more complicated. You have to click and then change the amount, click and change the amount. And she just applied it wrong and then deposited it. So I told her, well, when you're going to fix something, you want to always start at the end and delete backwards. So you start with the deposit that has the payment that got applied wrong. You delete the deposit. Oh, I don't want to delete. It's not going anywhere. When you delete it, it just falls back and it sits there in undeposited funds. And then you go back and unapply the payment. And that's all you unapply it is you take the check mark and you clear the check mark. Now, the invoices are all still there. The payment check is still there. They're just not linked together, you know. And so I showed her how to do it. And I said, if you happen to have a whole bunch of different invoices and different that have been linked together, you need to unlink, you need to get all the deposits back to undeposited funds, and you need to unlink them all, because if one has already been linked to something, it's not available to link to something different. You need to get it to what I call it float loose. You have payments floating loose and invoices floating loose, and you need to then, but they have to all be loose before you can start reconnecting them up. So anyway, and I showed her how to keep track of them too. You know, like
That's a great analogy. I love that. Float loose.
Duplicate. If you have one bill and one bill payment, and then you did a separate bill for the exact same thing and a separate bill payment, and they're duplicates of each other, what you need to do is you have to be able to figure out which bill is linked to which bill payment. Because otherwise, you might delink one of the bills and delete one of the bill payments, and the other two, you got a mess. So what you have to do is use the memo fields. And you need to do things like write on the memo field, keep or delete. so that then you'll know which one, once you see what's linked to what, while they're doing that and you're looking at them, you can type that on the memo and then you know which one to keep and which to delete. I said, because trust me, it's very difficult to keep track of that if they're all exactly the same.
Oh, absolutely.
When it's reconciled, you don't want to delete a reconciled one.
Right.
And you don't want to delete half of one that's reconciled. So anyway, so I was teaching her. She's a fast learner because she understands accounting and bookkeeping.
Nice.
So she just needs to understand how does QuickBooks keep track of it. So
Right, exactly. The QuickBooks way of doing it.
And then the other client I got is a new client whose computer crashed and was revived. And
I just pictured somebody putting the paddles on a.
Shock it.
And, so
Live, dang it, live!
are you having an earthquake over there, Melissa?
Yeah,
I
don't you
saw
feel
this.
it? No, nothing.
Maybe I should get under the desk.
No, I think I'm having a mental breakdown finally.
It's all right.
I'm good. I'm good.
So this other client, we had to restore backup data, and I was kind of teaching him where things are kept and where you find them and how do you find them. How do you know whether something's a backup or whether it's a data file, and the difference between star.qbw QuickBooks for Windows or star.qbb. And then if you restore something, but the company name inside is the same as another one that somebody restored, once you have it open, you can't tell which one is which one because you can't see the data file name at that point. Unless you look at the data file name closely, restore it, open it, and then make the company name match the data file name. So I was showing him how to do all that, and we got things going in his templates. I taught him how to edit templates and everything, and
Nice.
so it's kind of fun to be able to explain it to people.
Oh,
Actually, the ones that get it.
that's what we were talking about early. That
That's why I had fun today.
It's fun to work with them when they have that light bulb moment, and you can just see when they just, oh, that makes so much sense.
Yeah, and what's really nice is this is a man I'm working with, and he'll say, I didn't quite get that. I think I almost got it. Could you come at it a different way? And then he'll call me and I'll say, okay, and he's sending me things, and we're trying to create blanks. And I talked about I was going to put him on Google Docs because he wasn't sure he wanted to buy Microsoft Office. So I said, get Office 365, which is what he ended up doing. But so, and he's agreed to go to 2018. But I said, we're not in a rush. We'll get there. And they said, everything we're doing now will be brought into 2018, so you don't have to worry about it. So,
Yep.
yeah. So
All righty. Sarah,
Is it my turn?
your turn.
So unprepared.
Desktop time.
Desktop time. Next.
February, what date is it? February 21st?
Wednesday the 21st, 4 p.m. Eastern. So I guess that's 1 p.m. So, Convinci? How do you say that? Oh my gosh.
QVinci?
Yeah, QVINCI.
Vinci.
So Vinci. So I'll be hosting it's the webinar. The desktop time is for people that still love desktop. And really it's hosted by QBox. So he's having guest hosts, so so I have to the last time I looked at QVinci was November 2015. So I need to get my hands on them and maybe get my own little demo and get some questions. But it's consolidation reporting and benchmarking. And so that'll be fun. And then the first half an hour, I'll be able to show my TBX. So I had a major update to my trial balance program, but I'm trying to get 6.2 out before Wednesday. So we shall see. Because what people are waiting for, Hector's waiting to do a webinar. Karen Magno's waiting to do a webinar. We're all just waiting. And my programmer is going as hard as he can. But we're going to have an export for a journal entry.
Nice.
So if you have, we'll either do the period, so it's a trial balance with a extra field for a reference number. It automatically will put one reference number and one date, which so it can be imported. But the best is and he's struggling with it, but the 12 months stacked, one long trial balance next to 0.
Wow.
And it's differentiated by the reference number, 0117 or whatever, and a date, January 31st, 17. Then when it flips to February, and when that can be used by TPI Trial Balance Importer, Karen Magno's program, and it'll just export ready to go, and we'll import 12 journal entries of history right back into a brand new QuickBooks data file.
Wow, that's pretty amazing.
That I have been
really amazing.
Waiting for that, and I already have a call with a man who does a lot of NetSuite conversions, migrations. The people who are leaving QuickBooks and going to other programs, NetSuite, Intact, any other accounting program, I can within seconds give them all their history year by year. So everybody's just sort of waiting. So I really want to show it off Wednesday. So hopefully I may not have it on the market, but maybe I'll have show you guys.
A little sample file that you can, a teaser for us.
Teaser. Nice. Then again, it may be done, ready, and on the market. Oh, and the other thing, I started this whole process with my program in 2004.
Yeah.
I wrote it for myself, and then I thought, well, I'll throw it up on a shopping cart, and maybe I'll make some of my programming money back. And so it's been more of a hobby than a business.
Mm-hmm.
And then I did a major rewrite in 2010 when QuickBooks changed their database format, and everybody was going to Windows 10 and stuff like that, and I was either throw it away or rewrite it. So I rewrote it. And now I've completely rewritten it again. So now it's a business.
Now you're serious about it.
Yeah. Now it's a business. It has a proper licensing system, which will send you your license and so people can't steal it anymore and give it out to all their buddies and the other thing is I've never had a certificate on it. Have you ever installed software and it'll go, warning, do they really exist?
Right.
And so these new browsers, they'll flat out not let you download it.
Right.
I mean, they'll flat out go, if it's an EXE, you can't download EXEs.
Right.
So I thought, and I guess I had it in my head that it was just like crazy expensive. And I said, well, if you don't believe, if you don't think I exist, just call me.
I like it.
Worked great since 2004. before, but I got a call last week. The lady said, I cannot get this installed. And I'm like, so I dialed in her machine. I'm like, it really doesn't like me.
Oh, wow.
So I started researching, and I got $300 for 3 years.
Wow, that's
And
it.
I'm like, what the hell did I do this a long time ago? Well, probably because I didn't have $300 back then.
Right.
But so it's a it can be a very long, involved process. It can take up to 2 weeks to get approved. It's like the SSL certificate on
Yeah.
your website where if you get credit cards. So to have a coding certificate, it's a lot of research. So, and I told my programmers, he's like, well, you want me to put it in my name? And I said, no, let me do it in my name, and then I'll give you the certificate to put in my program. And so I said, I've been in business 30 years. I've been here 20-something years. It's always just been me, and I have really good credit. And so I'm like, how long could this take? And so I did the application yesterday. And I mean, they do Dun & Bradstreet, background checks, the whole thing.
Wow.
2:00, I got accepted.
Bravo.
Congratulations.
So
Nice.
yeah, I'm finally, it's
Official.
It's official. My
You're
program is
official.
going to be a lot more, it's more professional, completely redone the website. And I have a meeting next week with Randy Johnson and Brian Tankersley.
Oh, Tank. Yeah.
I didn't realize that they worked together.
I didn't either, but you know what? I've actually been to a actual seminar by Tank. And,
He's great.
oh my gosh, an amazing guy.
How's Randy? And they're being sweet enough to give me a little time and mentor me a little bit, and then maybe I can use their firm, for strategic planning, because
Nice.
and it's been pointed out to me by a couple of people, and I'm like, be honest with me, I'm too close to this, and it's my baby, and so I said that to Hector, and and Hector's brutally honest. He goes, you're not going to sell it, because my market has been my realm, which is accountants, right?
Yeah.
That's not who's buying it. It's the people migrating to new systems.
Right.
And it's franchises. And what's the third one? The 554, what was it? 445 reporting. And so it isn't the bookkeepers or the accountants, and so I've tapped out everybody that I know.
So you're working in a new field entirely.
A new field entirely, and I'm like, I'm a bean counter. I'm the idea person, but marketing, I don't know.
Well, you could do like our friend Jesse this morning. Hire those that know.
Hire those that know. So that's why I'm talking to Randy and them, because he knows the if we want to talk about just pick an industry, franchises, that's a tough nut to crack, because you can think about how many vendors want a phone call with McDonald's.
Right. Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
You don't get a phone call with McDonald's.
Right. But once you're in, you're in.
Right. But if you get to the right people who can get into McDonald's,
then you're good.
Because I have a couple McDonald's using my program, and I said, aren't you going to the convention, and can't you tell all your buddies that own McDonald's? And they're like, I don't want anybody to know I had this. It's a competitive thing. And I'm like,
right.
I got all excited thinking, oh my God, how many McDonald's there are, and they love my program and all that. And they won't tell each other.
They won't.
Darn.
It's really amazing.
So I have to look at it a different way. So anyway, that's the fun.
Exciting stuff.
show it.
And just wish you the best.
Oh,
Everything.
thanks.
I do. So the last 10 minutes, we're going to talk to Dennis. He wants some feedback.
Okay, I'm getting to the point now where I'm thinking I'm becoming a little more selective on accepting clients, and I want to have clients that don't want to drop in. My wife's got a piano lesson in the background. So I'm thinking about changing my website or putting some information on my website, trying to promote being a cloud accountant without really sort of alienating people that, might be receptive to doing cloud accounting, but are expecting to be able to come and visit me personally. And so
I have solved that problem by using Work Together, which is a co-op working space. I don't rent an office, but I rent a space that I can go to, and I
used to do that. Yeah. Well, for this tax season, I don't want people. Actually, I've had some people show up my UPS address, think it's my office, and saying, "Hey, I couldn't find you." And I said, "Well, yeah, it's because I'm not there."
I live in that little post office box.
How did you find them, and how did they not know that you weren't there? I'm curious.
Well, I've got a mailing address, and it looks like a street address, and it really is, but it's a UPS store.
But I mean, how did you find the client? How did the client how did the client find you?
On my website.
On your website. Huh.
So you want to know how to put it on your website
in a nice way that,
So they basically thought that you had like traditional office hours and they could just show up at your office because
right,
just on Google.
Just drop on in. And I'm thinking at a minimum on my website, put this as a mailing address, not a permanent
just put mailing address
only.
I know. I mean, Dennis, I'm 100% online. Like nobody comes to me.
Right.
Nobody.
Yeah.
But I make that very clear on all of the wording on my website, from start to finish. The first thing people see is that I'm virtual and this is how I work with people, and you can have your taxes done and stay in your pajamas. All that kind of stuff, because that's
what's your website? What's your website? I may want to take a look at it just to get some ideas.
I'll put it in the chat. It's melissawhaley.com.
Does it have to start with a little whale?
and can you put something like
whale.
I like the whale.
I know. Well,
scheduled only, or only scheduled appointments accepted, or
That's what mine says.
Yeah.
By appointment only, but.
Well, what I'm trying to do is have my appointments be by Zoom.
Yeah.
And so I guess if I'm trying to get people to select themselves out that really want to come to a, physical office, but not necessarily select out, alienate people that might be receptive to cloud accounting. I don't know if that's cutting it too fine or.
I don't know, because I feel like if you're wanting to work with long established businesses who are used to desktop, who are used to face-to-face, who are used to people that are coming into their office,
I'm not.
Yeah, you're going to alienate them because they're just not willing to get on the bus and come forward into the technology now. And that's okay, because there are still people that are willing to service them in the way they want to be serviced. It's just not us. Yeah, but you don't even go out to people's offices as often anymore.
Well, I do some work at home, but I actually do go to their offices.
Yeah, Linda does a lot of traveling.
Oh my goodness.
Basically, I'm like an outside consultant, and I'll drop in and visit with them and everything. But you have to understand, I'm semi-retired.
Right. You're not working 24/7, 80 hours a week.
No, I'm not doing that. I work 20 hours a week.
But you, Dennis, want to be virtual completely.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
You want to do what Melissa's doing.
Yeah.
Yes.
Have you found that clients don't have cameras and microphones? I had that again today.
I found that in a couple that, oh, no, I don't have a webcam.
I don't have a webcam, or we'll do the Zoom, but they've got a call. Yeah, and they could share their machine and all that, and they can see us, like the one we did this afternoon.
Right.
Angela was at home. She has a sick kid.
right?
So Angela was on the Zoom. I'm on the Zoom. We couldn't see the client.
Yeah, I've had that.
We're sharing the screen and everything, and they like seeing us. But it's pretty, I realize that I've been virtual a little too long because I went to a concert one time, and if I hadn't have seen his wife, I would not have recognized him. And this is a client I've had since the 80s.
Yeah, I've got
I said, and of course, I love this guy. And I'm like, when did your hair go white? This guy said, about 15 years ago.
yeah.
I need to go visit some clients because that's just terrible. I didn't even know him.
Yeah, I've got clients, I have no idea what they look like.
Yeah, I did one. The guy found me online. I did a sales tax return about steak in and out or steak something. Anyway, and he would just, in the old days, he would fax in the sales stuff. I do a sales tax return. I did it for like 3 or 4 years. And one day this man just walked in the door. I had an office then. And he said, I just sold my steak. He said, I just sold my business and I just wanted to come over and see what you say. Thank you. See what
They
you
should give you warning before they just pop in.
Oh, I hate that. I know. I hate people.
No,
No, I had full blown receptionists and all that back then.
Right. But Dennis is talking about he doesn't.
No.
And, I tell people for insurance purposes, I can't have clients in my office.
Right.
And also for confidentiality.
Confidentiality,
I'm not set up
zoning.
with folders around and that's just not for. So I do schedule appointments at this work co-op that I use. I have the conference room, but I have to schedule it. But usually I'll know ahead of time, and it hasn't been a problem.
what do you pay an hour?
It's a monthly fee that I pay, and it's only $50 a month.
Oh, that's
Oh,
not
that's
bad.
great.
That's
So
not
it's
bad.
amazingly cheap to be able to meet people, more or less on demand.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that is really cool. I have to say, honestly, part of the reason why I have not marketed or networked locally is because I don't want people accidentally showing up or
Yeah.
any of that stuff. And I mean, I'm starting now just through church people and like other mom friends who have businesses and things that they're like, well, we need help with our taxes or we need help with this or that. And I'm like, okay, I'll help you, but I'm like, I just do virtual. So
Yeah, this is a business. Yeah.
like, you don't come over to my house unless we want to have dinner and you want to bring your tax stuff and then I'll give it back to you on Sunday at church.
Yeah, right. People don't understand that separation.
Yeah, totally. So it's funny. But I'm realizing more like I should start marketing to my local area a little bit more, at least the greater kind of Riverside County area, because there is a lot of market here. And there's a lot of people in my own, my niche of the creative online business owners or creative business owners. Like there's a group called the Rising Tide Society that does like monthly meetups. So I'm doing their tax training next month locally. So I'm like,
Oh, nice. Well, I do have to say that I do put, now they're asking, like a lot of the profiles when I'm filling them out, who is your ideal client? I do put down clients that are comfortable working virtually
Yeah.
as my ideal
Just
client.
state it. Yeah.
Just state it right up front,
yeah.
I want clients that are comfortable working virtually.
Yeah, don't be. I think, like really, it's not, if you play it up as a positive thing, like my whole thing is like, you don't have to take the time to set up an appointment and get all your documents and drive down to your accountant's office. Like now you can send it all in virtually and we meet online from home, or, like I'll have clients that they're at Starbucks when we meet. And as long as their Wi-Fi is good enough, then I'm happy with that. We can chat when I'm sitting in my car on my cell phone, depending on what we're doing.
Well, I'm thinking of, like, since Zoom, you can record it, I'm thinking about touting the advantages of, you don't have to remember what I said, you can just review the
Oh,
video.
absolutely, absolutely. We do it virtually. It's recorded for you to look at over and over again.
Mm-hmm.
All right, we're at the top of the hour already. Goes quickly when it's only a half an hour.
It does, yeah.
So we'll see you all same time, same place next week.
Sounds good.
Bye. Have a nice weekend.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.